Her hands were shaking. Not from the cold. The terminal in Fort Lauderdale was 82 degrees. She was shaking because a security officer had just pulled her suitcase off the belt, set it on a steel table, and unzipped it in front of 40 strangers. Her husband stood next to her, silent. 41 years married, 12 cruises together, and on their anniversary trip, the one they'd saved for 18 months, they were the ones being searched. It wasn't alcohol. It wasn't a knife. It wasn't anything you'd expect. It was a power strip, the exact one they'd used on 11 cruises before this one, except this time it had a USB port built into the side, and that tiny detail turned a harmless travel item into a fire code violation. The strip was confiscated. Their cabin outlet situation, the one they'd planned their whole CPAP and phone charging setup around, was suddenly gone, and they didn't get it back until the final morning of the cruise. Here's what nobody tells you before your first cruise, and what almost nobody tells you even after your 10th. The rules change, quietly, every year. And the passengers getting stopped at security in 2026 are not the reckless 20-somethings smuggling vodka in shampoo bottles. They're careful, experienced travelers, people exactly like you who packed the same way that worked perfectly fine 2 or 3 years ago. So today, I'm counting down 8 packing decisions that are quietly costing experienced cruisers time, money, and in some cases, the first few hours of a vacation they'd been looking forward to for months. And I'm saving the 2 biggest ones, the ones that show up on almost every single sailing, for the very end, because once you hear them, you will never pack the same way again. Let's start with number 8, and it's something almost every cruiser over 60 has in their suitcase right now without realizing it's a problem. Before we continue, my name is Ben, and we just launched this channel for people looking for all the tips and tricks for cruising. Our goal is simple, to give you all the tips and tricks no one else talks about. If you'd like to support us and help us create better videos, please subscribe. It's free and it helps us out more than you think. Let's get started. 8. Power strips and extension cords without surge protection. For years, this was standard advice. Cabins have maybe 2 outlets. You've got a phone, a tablet, a CPAP machine, maybe a fan, so you bring a strip from home. Made sense. Except cruise lines have tightened fire regulations dramatically over the last 2 years, and most major lines now only allow strips with a genuine surge protector clearly built in, non-negotiable. Anything else, especially anything with USB ports that isn't UL certified, gets pulled at the X-ray machine. Not maybe, gets pulled. And here's the part that actually matters if you rely on medical equipment overnight. If your only power source gets confiscated at boarding, you are now improvising a CPAP setup for the first night of your cruise. That is not a small inconvenience, that is a health issue. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. A cruise-approved surge-protected strip costs about $15, weighs nothing, and takes the entire problem off the table. But almost nobody checks before they sail, because almost nobody thinks to. Number 7 surprised me the first time a veteran cruiser told me about it, and I think it'll surprise you too. 7. Backup medication packed in checked luggage instead of your carry-on. If you take a daily prescription, you already know to bring extra. Smart. But here's what veteran cruisers have learned the hard way, sometimes from stories they heard from other passengers, sometimes from their own close calls. Checked luggage occasionally doesn't make it onto the ship on time. It happens more than cruise lines like to admit, especially on turnaround days when thousands of bags are being loaded within a few short hours. If your blood pressure medication, your insulin, your heart medication is sitting in a suitcase that's delayed until day 2, you are now managing a real medical situation in the middle of the ocean, hundreds of miles from a pharmacy. Experienced cruisers keep a minimum 3-day supply of every medication in their carry-on, in the original labeled bottles, every single time, no exceptions. It's not paranoia. It's the one habit that veteran cruisers describe, almost word for word, the same way. I only had to learn that lesson once. Number 6 is a little less serious, but honestly, almost every long-time cruiser has a story about it. 6. Formal night anxiety packing. This is the one where people, smart, experienced travelers, pack an entire second wardrobe out of fear of being underdressed. Suits, cocktail dresses, a backup outfit for the backup outfit. And then they get on board and discover that modern cruise ships have quietly relaxed their dress codes to the point where formal night now looks more like a nice dinner than a black tie gala. The suit gets worn once, for 11 minutes for a photo. Then it hangs in the closet for the rest of the week, taking up a third of the closet space that could have held something you'd actually use. Here's the twist most people don't expect. The passengers who feel most confident on formal night aren't the ones with the fanciest outfit. They're the ones who packed one good outfit and stopped worrying about it. Overpacking for an imagined version of the cruise doesn't make you feel more prepared. It just gives you more to carry, more to organize, and more stress before you've even left the dock. We're a third of the way through this list, and I want to pause here because this next story is the reason I wanted to make this video in the first place. A woman I'll call Diane, sailing solo on her 6th cruise after losing her husband the year before, told me something that stuck with me. She said the hardest part of that first solo cruise wasn't the grief, it was standing in front of her suitcase the night before, trying to pack for a version of the trip she used to take, the one where someone else carried the heavy bag, someone else remembered the paperwork, someone else handled the details. She packed exactly what they used to pack together. 2 formal outfits she never wore, a stack of printed documents she never needed, a second phone charger, just in case, when the first one was sitting right there in her purse the entire time. It wasn't until her 3rd day on board, sitting by herself at the pool with a book she'd actually chosen to bring, that she realized something. She wasn't packing for the cruise she was taking, she was packing for the person she used to be, on a trip she used to take with someone who wasn't there anymore. And once she saw that clearly, she said, repacking got a lot easier, and so did the rest of the trip. I'm telling you that story because it's not really about a suitcase. It's about the fact that most of us, at every age, pack a little bit for the vacation we're imagining instead of the one we're actually taking. Let's get back to the countdown because number 5 is costing people real money and almost nobody talks about it.
5. Printed paperwork. Boarding passes, hotel confirmations, shore excursion tickets, a folder thick enough to double as a doorstop. This used to be smart. Today, most major cruise lines run entirely on apps. Digital boarding passes, mobile check-in, onboard credit tracked automatically. Carrying a heavy paper folder isn't just unnecessary anymore, it's actually become a liability because paper gets lost, gets wet, gets left in a cab. Experienced cruisers now keep everything as offline screenshots on their phone, accessible with no signal, no Wi-Fi, no stress. And they carry exactly one printed backup of their passport information, nothing more. That's it, that's the whole system. Now here's where things get interesting, because we're at the halfway point of this list, and number 4 is the one veteran cruisers argue about more than any other. 4. Bringing too much cash in too obvious a place. For decades, cruisers were told, bring cash for tips, cash for small vendors, cash for emergencies. And to be fair, a small amount of cash is still smart. But here's what's changed. Most onboard spending today runs through your key card, digitally linked to your account, and most ports you'll visit now widely accept cards or digital payment. Carrying several $100s in cash doesn't make you more prepared anymore, it just makes you a target, both for pickpockets in crowded ports and for the very human tendency to spend it faster because it doesn't feel like real money the way a card transaction does. Experienced cruisers have quietly scaled back to a small split amount, some in a money belt, some in the safe, instead of one large stack in an obvious wallet. We're past the halfway mark now, and I want to be honest with you about something. I didn't grow up cruising. My grandmother did. 40+ years of cruises, most of them solo after my grandfather passed. And the reason I started digging into all of this, the reason I talk to veteran cruisers every single week, is because I watched her almost miss a departure once over something completely avoidable, a rule she didn't know had changed since her last trip 3 years earlier. She wasn't careless, she was just working from information that used to be true. That's the entire reason this channel exists, not to scare you, to make sure you're never standing at a security table or a gangway working from outdated information the way she almost was. So, let's get into the final stretch because the last 3 items on this list are the ones experienced cruisers mention more than every other item combined, and one of them is almost universal. 3. Overpacking mobility and comfort items just in case, instead of packing based on your actual itinerary. Compression socks for a flight you're not taking, a second cane you'll never use because the first one is fine, 3 different pairs of walking shoes when your itinerary has exactly 1 port day involving real walking. The pattern experienced cruisers describe is always the same. They packed for the hardest possible version of every day, instead of the actual specific days on their actual specific itinerary. Check your port schedule first, pack for that trip, not for a worst-case scenario that statistically almost never happens. 2, and this one surprises people every time, bringing a large dedicated camera setup. Lenses, chargers, a bulky bag you have to carry through every port, worry about in every excursion, store carefully in every cabin. Here's the twist. Most cruisers, when they look back at their favorite photos from the trip, discover the vast majority were taken on their phone anyway, in the moment, without the extra weight. Professional photographers, absolutely, bring your gear. Everyone else, ask yourself honestly whether that camera bag earned its space last time, or whether it just came along for the ride. And number 1, the thing experienced cruisers over 60 say they've stopped packing more than anything else, and it isn't really an item at all.
1. Redundancy born from fear instead of experience. A backup for the backup. An outfit for an event that's never actually happened on any of their previous cruises. A gadget bought for a trip 2 years ago that's been sitting untouched in a drawer ever since, dragged along out of habit rather than need. The most experienced cruisers I've spoken with, people on their 15th, 20th, 30th sailing, all describe the exact same turning point. At some point, they stopped packing for every possible version of the trip and started packing for the actual trip they'd learned through years of experience that they were actually going to take. And that brings us back to where we started, that couple at the security table in Fort Lauderdale. Here's what I didn't tell you yet. They got their power strip back on the final morning. And do you know the first thing they did when they got home? They didn't complain about it online. They bought the surge protected version, put it directly into their cruise bag, and told me flat out that it was the smallest, cheapest fix for the biggest unnecessary stress of that entire trip. That's really what this whole list comes down to. Not fear, not over-preparation, just current, accurate information applied to the specific trip you're actually taking. If this helped you rethink even one thing sitting in your suitcase right now, that's exactly why I make these videos. And if you've got a story, something you learned the hard way on a cruise, or a rule that caught you off guard the way that power strip caught that couple off guard, I want to hear it. Because some of the best advice on this channel comes directly from people like you. Next time, I'm going deep into something almost nobody talks about honestly. What actually happens in that so-called naughty room once your bag gets pulled aside? Who decides what gets confiscated, what you get back, and what you never see again? You'll want to see that one. Until then, pack smart, pack light, and I'll see you on the next one.